Good evening, Algebra 1 students. We are now preparing to have a quiz. And even when I taught this in an actual classroom, I always took a break here and did a review lesson. So that's what I've posted on RenWeb, and I'm going to add after I upload this video. What I'm going to do is I'm looking on page 649. So I'm going to write that in parentheses right in the middle. Page 649. That is the book quiz for lessons 10.1, 10.3. And I'm going to pull one problem from each category to do for you so you know what each kind is like. And I've assigned for you some homework that's related to that. Not that many problems, but I really want you to do them well. I'm also going to do my best, we'll see how it goes, to do a help session in the afternoon. And the reason I'm not sure how that's going to go is I've not tried Zoom on a whiteboard yet, and I'm not sure how good the image quality is. But if for some reason that does not work, then what I will do is I will give you some videos of particular problems worked out. Okay, so to start, the first question is graph the function compared to y equals x squared. This is from section 10.1. So to graph the function in 10.1, they just had you do x and y. Here, because we've finished the chapter, we can take some shortcuts. And so I'm going to find the axis of symmetry. Which is negative b over 2a, right? Now remember, here, what's in front of the x is actually a. So just remember, a is -1 because it's in front of the x. B, well, what's b? Well, there is no b, right? It's 0. And then c is 3. So if I have 0 over 2 times -1, then my axis of symmetry is 0. So it's essentially going to be my y-axis. Therefore, my vertex is also going to be at 0, 0. Sorry, not 0, 0. So if I enter this into this equation, not 0, 0, we'll see in a minute, y equals -x squared plus 3, and I substitute the axis of symmetry, I get 0 squared plus 3, or a value of 3. So my vertex is at 0, 3. Okay, so I think I'm doing pretty well as far as now graphing my function. X, y. So I'm going to start, I'm going to put this function in green. And now I have to find a couple of points, right? So if x is 1, y is 2, right? Because it's negative, it's at 1 squared, then the negative, right? Plus 3 will give me 2. If it's -1, it will give me the same value. Well, that's helpful. 1, 2, -1, 2. I want to at least find one more set of points, so I'm going to see what happens if x is 2 and -2. If x is 2, I have 2 squared, which is 4, times -1, so -4 plus 3, I get a -1. If I put in -2, it'll give me the same value. So 2, -1, -2, -1, and here's my parabola. Oops, sorry, 2, -1 over here. No wonder it wasn't looking right. There we go. Okay, so this is my parabola, y equals negative x squared plus 3. All right, I've done half of this. I graphed the function, right? But that's not all that I'm asked to do. I'm asked to do two things, and this is really important in your quiz. Graph the function is number one. Number two is I have to compare it to y equals x squared. So I need to draw my parent function, which if you remember is 0, 0, right? 1, 1, 2, 4, 2, negative 4. Should pretty much know it by heart now if you've been doing it all along. And here's my parent function, y equals x squared. Well, if I'm comparing the two functions, I can see right away that this function, the second function, is a reflection, right? It is upside down. And the second thing it is a vertical translation by 3 points, okay? So we've now graphed the function, and we've compared it to the parent function. Okay, ready? So that is the first set of problems, and 1, 2, and 3 if you look at page 649. So that's the first kind of problem. The second kind of problem asks us to label the axis of symmetry, to graph and label the axis of symmetry. So this number, and I'm going to do number 7 if you're looking at the book, and that says graph the function label the vertex and axis of symmetry. Now you'll notice, again, this is about reading directions. It gives you two things. Graph the function, number 1. 2, label. Don't just let it say, hey, it's obvious, Mrs. Gerdes, you should see it. You actually physically have to label it. So y equals 2x squared minus 12x plus 5. All right, again, I'm going to start with the axis of symmetry since I need to find that anyway. So my axis of symmetry x equals negative b over 2a. And so my axis of symmetry is going to be negative 12, since b is negative 12, over 2 times 2, which is a. So I get 12 over 4, which is 3. So my axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 3. Then I'm going to use this number and substitute it back into the equation. Y equals 2 times 3 squared minus 12 times 3 plus 5 to find out what is the other part of the vertex. I have the x value. I need to find the y value. So I end up with 2 times 9 minus 36 plus 5. 18 minus 36 is negative 18 plus 5 equals negative 13. So my vertex is going to be 3, negative 13. That's the first thing that I can put on my graph. What else? Well, I can see that I have another point here, right? I have the y-intercept, which is going to be 0 and 5. And I'll probably need to move on from there and get some points, so let me just start drawing the graph. I'm realizing I'm probably going to have to go pretty far, like 3, negative 13 is going to be way down here. It's going to be pointing up because this is a positive number. And it's going to be pretty steep, right, because of this number 2. It also says it's going to be in the first and second quadrant, so I'm going to draw a little bit more to the right here. Okay, let's see. I need to leave lots of room to do this. All right, so my vertex is going to be way down here, and I need to leave room, so I'm going to go by 2s. -2, -4, -6, -8, -10, -12, -14. I'll do the same going up, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and on the side 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and -2, -4. I should not have to go too far in that direction. Okay, so let me already start plotting the points that I have. 3, -13, here's 3, -13, gonna be down here. So that's my vertex and my axis of symmetry. Now you were asked to label both of those. So when I see your graph on this quiz, I should see something up here that says x equals 3, and I should see the vertex written out and labeled 3, -13. The other point that I've also found is the x-intercept, 0, 5. And again, it's so convenient because this is 3 units over from the axis of symmetry, which means I know that right at the same place at 5, if I go over from 3 to 6, I'm going to have a matching point because of the symmetry of the parabola. I'm down to just needing 2 more points just to finish this off. And I'm just going to choose probably 2 and 4 and see what happens. Let me start with 2. So if I substitute this in, 2 squared is 4, times 2 is 8, minus 12 times 2 is 24. So 24, -24 plus 8, it's going to give me a -16 plus 5, should give me a -11 if I did this correctly. So 2, -11, that looks like it makes sense. Let's see if 4 gives us the same number. 2 times 4 squared, so that's 2 times 16, which is 32, minus 12 times 4, which is 48. So 32 minus 48 is a -12. Sorry. Let me write this out, or just say it again. 16 times 2 is 32. Oh, minus 12 times 4, which is 48, is going to give me, again, a -16 plus 5 is going to be a -11. There we go. All right, so that's going to work. And I can draw my parabola. Oop, didn't quite reach the vertex. All right, so that covers 2 out of 4 of the problems on the quiz. I'm going to stop here and do the other 2.